There's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
Ghana, West Africa. Nearly 200 miles north from the coast lies Kumasi, the capital of the Asante region, seat of one of the most powerful kingdoms of West Africa. The Asante have survived years of colonization by the British and incorporation into the modern Ghanaian state. Kumasi Central Market, one of the largest in Africa, is at the heart of the Asante economy. Every day, up to 70,000 people come here to trade in everything from tomatoes to talcum powder. The market is dominated by women. It is they who decide what is sold, who sells it, and at what price. The only men in the wholesale market today are employed by the women as labourers and secretaries. The women have organised themselves into tightly run produce associations, and each association has an elected leader known as the Queen Mother, who with a committee of elders takes all important decisions. Ama is the tomato Queen Mother.
Na dia ne nkan kwafa ku sentiri tiru kura metewo no metewo ma enkurazefo metewo ma ekumazefo metewo ma nipa ba ko chese bi kura woni ya ne ba ya no na ntako bi asiri din no me fanye na akokra ko ma to ne yem ewura me sro nya abotre ma adwumadie no enye pepepe na zo nya ntiase o no nya ntiase na bia e kana sa na eye pepepe.
Next door to the tomato section is the Yam Wholesale area. This is one of the most important sections of the market, as yams provide much of the Asante staple diet. Ama Sewa is the Queen Mother. She is the most powerful woman in the market and the final arbiter of all disputes.
Yeah, sir, I dear be not so any more who I say, yeah. Let me a catch and idea why, and why any ye. Ain't Sabaida, that's what the free pass of Baba. Not a board in here. Between my wife, I said, maybe I'm trying by Reno. The Baida board in it. Yeah, me, I'm meeting me, Mecca. Now, sir, me, I'm here, paying what I ain't.
Nancy, Panya, ya na edewa ho. So ya panyina ede.
Dapa.
Ani said
say. Which the castle wa perfect would train if I don't do so. That's what you say. We are paying.
The plantain section of the market is expanding fast. It took the plantain sellers years of lobbying to get themselves a permanent patch to trade on. They only won this area after they had appealed to local politicians to kick out the resident Nigerian traders. A produce Queen Mother's authority depends largely on how she got her position in the first place. Oba was never elected. She got to the top by courting members of the Asante royal family and local politicians.
What's all your word too? Many penny for them and quite any Akrani and Qua. You be cry, my. You walk with Yam or him, or he did our word too. First, you quite antima, and so quite Chiano, and so him also, our word too. Do I him on my mediano? Santini, I was Sachan.
Something I was so much of them. You will never say. Me, over to you. Me, Kumasi, heard in mind, body.
Market trading is a family business. It's rare to find a woman trading alone. Invariably, there's a sister or daughter nearby. In the tomato section, family influence is very strong. Amma, the tomato queen mother, has 2 daughters who are both tomato retailers, and they constantly complain to their mother about the high prices and the difficulties they have in making a profit. Tutua is the youngest daughter and her mother's strongest critic. There's enormous pressure to fix the price of tomatoes quickly. A couple of hours in the scorching heat and they begin to perish. The tomato queen mother delegates price fixing to members of her committee of elders. It is they who negotiate the price with the women who bring the produce from the rural areas. Kumasi is not a tomato growing area, so the price is usually high and bargaining fierce. The woman on the right has brought a lorry load of tomatoes from Accra. The 3 women arguing with her are the Tomato Association's price fixers.
Madam, I'm for the boy.
It took an hour to knock down the Accra woman's price to 160 cedis. It's only when the price is fixed that the retailers, who've been waiting around patiently, can buy the tomatoes and hire labourers to carry them away to the retail market. The Plantain Section. Unlike the yam and tomato queen mothers, who were elected by their members and so have popular support for their iron rule, Oba, the plantain queen mother, has a permanent struggle to maintain order. 5 plantain sellers who accused her of taking more than her fair share of the profits recently tried to overthrow her, but she used her political influence and held on to her job. She's now finding it difficult to settle one of the many fights and disputes that break out in her section. The dispute has broken out because the woman in white has been accused of selling rotten plantain. Feelings are running high, and most of the sellers have ganged up against her in support of the woman in green, who has refused to pay the price she originally negotiated. The case has been reported to Oba. She has to maintain order and settle the dispute, which is as much about her authority as it is about rotten plantain. The majority clearly agree with Oba, but the woman in white has powerful support. Although dissatisfied with Oba's judgment, the woman grudgingly pays her fine. Oba has just managed to restore order among her women, who constantly challenge her authority. Asante society is matrilineal. This means that the king inherits not from his father's side, but from his mother's relatives. A British-educated barrister, King Opuko Ware II, was elected according to Asante tradition. One of the most important factors in his election was the support given to him by the Asante Queen Mother, the most powerful woman in the kingdom. All members of the royal family are related to the Queen Mother, and when a king dies, it is the Queen Mother who nominates his successor to the Committee of Elders, who make the final decision. Unlike our society, sons do not inherit property from their fathers. Instead, wealth passes from a man to his sister's sons. This should mean that the sister has considerable authority, and that women in Asante have more status and wield more power than elsewhere. In practice, for the ordinary woman it can mean great hardship, because if her husband dies, his property goes not to her and her children, but to his sister's children, and she is left with the task of supporting her family. This gathering is part of the funeral celebration of a member of the royal family. The palace is still at the heart of Asante politics, and Oba, the Plantain Queen Mother, and her colleague from the Yam section, Amasewa, represent all the market women at the funeral. They make the most of such an occasion and make both business and political contacts, as well as enjoying the dancing. Just as the Queen Mother is crucial to the appointment of the king, the same pattern usually applies at lower levels of the political system. In every village there's a Queen Mother who nominates the village chief, but this unusual power that women have constitutionally is unrelated to their domestic role, which is one of subservience to men. Most women have little power and can only earn status with childbearing and age. Men in Asante marry polygamously, sometimes as many as 5 or 6 wives. A Kua is the senior or first wife. Asante women often live separately from their husbands, so each day a Kua cooks food for her husband and takes it to his house. Amanimo is his junior wife. She too lives separately from her husband, an important man in the village who lives with his uncles, brothers and nephews.
Just say, we nipa we area back one, 10 biano. Why in pepe? Just say, or batchma, and you can say, where the animal. Na say, any class where the animal, that's all area back up. No chima, one on quara, move here, move better and modidi. Entino, Sebema, walk on our area near. Wait, chima, we bear the animal. We ya dear. We befem kwarano. Just nipa wo hwe ni ye doso. It is all you know me no dia. Ansa na ba akokwa fumu no na ba akọ ofi. Na wonya hoho a wono so so aboa. Nti me de me fe say ya asantefo no awade mi no.
Afame ho mu no nkumhwi kan enu onu ya bembe. Afame ho mu no nkumhwi kan. Ba ti se mi jena we ma afame ho mu no nkumhwi kan. Be me wato me so bo matana ho ma bere o. Beme watu mesobo matara homa bere o sa wo mpemi eja mi wa kwankwa burube o afam ho mu nkumhwi kan ya no me na o chere kwato ja ya ponchere ni ahwiriye ibia na me o chere kwato ja ya ponchere ni ahwiriye ibia na me abasa ukunu de fero o awa abone nyi so anu no aware bone te santo mabwe me koko yi fira ameni ewu amene ni ma bese yonkoi ko yi me fira ameni ewu amene ni ta wo kure ko yi me fira ameni ewu amene ni.
Asante women have no illusions of romantic love. For them, marriage is important because it provides them with children. An Asante woman's most important relationship is with her children and with her mother, not with her husband.
Obati se mi jena hoye ma famu hu kumwi kan be me watu me so bo matana ho ma bere o be me watu me so bo matana ho ma bere o se wo mpem ye ja mi wa kwankwa bo.
Although a woman like Oba can settle the most difficult disputes in the market, in the home she would have no such role.
Enti me yere ne de e ma no mienu ba ye ba kon kwambia so ne ketere ma me sen kura ko ne yakun a me meko akobo papa ma ne se me yere no mienu se yakun me hwe me ametena se afre wo no no ahwe wo wudi fo no meko aka kire wo busu
eno anso wo bepu abonten asre panini bi anakoda bi se dia bani mesrem mo nse patantokwa no mame efiti se because so panini mu a obakase mabo akuma no amabo no sa na mkoso panini su mu a asemu aba ndi me ko freni pa pontinsu ni bi na wo ba wa patantokwa na mame na wadwudwu wonu mienu bo amame na obia ekoko ato ne yamu no ansa na matemase mafrɛ ayire panini no mafrɛ ayire kuma no so mabisan sɛ ɛyɛ den ɛna sɛmo yaba na obi a kyerɛ ne diem na ne obɛkyerɛ mu ane de nyɛ no maka kyerɛ ne sɛ ne woyɛɛ no mempɛ na woyɛɛ no mempɛ ɛnu nti no Why, any year? When I walk penny, but command it all. Just a damn was here, and 2 penny move piano, men I'm hearing one of me, no. Now, and Tiasia, your Juma, no penny, no, a pa command it shell. No, so none of cocoa do. None of cocoa do and my catch and say, Okra, Abba, Mammy, Patan. Was a sa, me ma kusiam you and I kusiam and son. No crab commands, oh, maybe 2, and from so be a abba, your crunchy, and the chum. What the chem, and I'm you kusiam, what you kusiam, a honor, a yamime bearman as a penefedia, a yamime cat, a woman.
Oba's experience of marriage is typical. She was the second of her husband's 3 wives and had 2 children by him. The marriage was never happy.
What do you two do a baby dinner say a friend of what? How does also dear Jack become once more? Have I yet 10. Now I don't know, I can't say what I know. And some 10. What can I do here with the children? Can I ask me? Then you told about what I say. I say me a worry. I say my word and be a friend of what. Now I'm the 40 years old. Why near? Yan, so Banwa, me when you are getting 1 year. Well, just say to say, near Yadinti. 1 hour.
And worry. No, would you say yes, sir? Won't be worried.
I say, what, sir? And yet, Nancy, why, I say, what can I say? Say, you only pay your bushing, you know. Tell me, you know, yapping. Well, got a corner, where I walk, you bet me to say. Me wa me tie ni yo na ngwa wa obi beti ayem ramano timi yem ramano so ayem ramano na say yi a na jam no ne te wo me so me nka me kwa na fe kwa ware aye den so hunu ka wo bra de be mano na so weni so na le so ka
anti wo kan na che se wa wie
wo kan na je se wo so ye baka cha wa mu se kan na ware ti yem yam pe na me yem
na so wo ko ade no
se me kro wo se me ka me bibia no wa hi me hi Nyame bo mi o du ho ga na bu se obi be kan ba ho asema kire me bu mfi asem so be se oto we kwa asem ba no na me kunu se me ne mbra no mfa me ho so nyame sa
ma bi wo ho a wo mu ekunu num ko ware bia ya na mfa wo ho
ebe ne me de me mfa mo ebe me hunu yam je ya wo ko fa bia na wa wo na abekro wa ba na we bia na abekro
nti se o je niam ade anka abekro
ene ngam da zan ga me tu so pa ade edu boyfriend me dia so de bi eni mu no so bi be di bia beka se so dia na wo ba ba je asampa de so nya samone over to you.
Over to you.
Asantes regard their mother's village as their home for life. When women marry, they often remain in their mother's home and live separately from their husbands. Nobody can ever be thrown out of their maternal home, where 3 or 4 generations live together. The market women regularly visit their villages, and Ama Sewa, the Yam Queen Mother, although independent and successful, never misses an opportunity to return home to see her family.
Ahani ya wo me me papa nyina me ma me na me yakwada no me ma me ka ba bi ntem o fie hai na o ka ba bi anu ka me ma me nua ba ko na no hwe me a na me nyine he me papa ni nyina ne ma me nyina ye wu ntem ti amama nko school ti me ni te ye no anu na me nua panyine no de wo ye hima no America no obefa me ko Kumasi de wo ye ha hima no America no ona na me yakwada obefa me ko Kumasi okotete me a na me nyine ye no na me ware be ma ba ko me ne wo ma enwotwe kaya wo nkono ba ko wuyi nti dia akari nyina no ye wo ho nwotwe nyina ye wo ho aye nyina afi maame ba ko papa ba ko ne munu ano na panyine no soso obo ame kakra me ye hwe nkwala school akire no wuye me kunu no Emuya na mde kosua ba yere to. Ba yere no so na meton da bia. Nti eno a ba yeto no mu no a am de hwe emofra no school. Ewa mre no ukun so fa ba wo panka mpata ne yesire dumiensa. Na wo pawasemu a obama wo bia Paul 9. Nti sa mre no opata me Paul 9.
Nenti so opata wi a na kire wo so wote hwa na aka se adie die ni se mepene so a wutimi kofasem no yasem ka bie.
So obama ne ye wade na hye wo na se oba no bia wo ba ye no wo mpene so a se wapata maje na enso se bia ekwane amde me fa so no me mpene sa ni wutimi ka
Mika se bia ye wo ayi bi wo akanman mu se
bia ya che na no oh one de ye hyehyɛ ye hyehyɛ bia na awotwe na akra wo se obekɔ ne yere wo nimsa no wokɔ.
Kwame Ajiman is one of the most important men in Amasewa's village. He lives strictly according to Asante custom, but he finds it more convenient not to operate a weekly sex rota. He prefers to keep his wives guessing as to which one he will choose to sleep with.
Obi te se me nhyehyɛ na asekyerɛ ne sɛ ahoho ogum so ɔdɔso ɛma no so ɔka kyerɛ wo hyehyɛ na no a no ma yɛ jealous sɛ nyam na me da ho nti menyɛ ɛkwan bi so no mo ka nti bra ne ɔte no ha na ne ɔte me ha no de ɔda me nkyɛn no ebi a me ho ahoho ɔdɔso ebi ane sɛ ebi abɛn no wa ye aduane aba ahoho ya dɔso mo sɛ me kukuruma ahoho no ne yedidie na matena se bɛsan kɔ ka kyerɛ ne sɛ ahoho abanti no foforo brɛ me obewie pɛpɛɛpɛ am de bɛma me bia me bɛdidie na foforo nam kwam ma san de mai wɔn san nya foforo a afɛ de no wa brɛ nti me kɔ ka kyerɛ ne wɔna hɔ no a wɔse nyam na me da hɔ ne ɔnyɛ no san na ɔbɛka kyerɛ wɔse nyam na me da hɔ nti de ɔda hɔ no ɔnso no ne wa hɔ
wo tini fie na mehyehyɛ nda no ama wo kyɛ sɛ wo ebi a na awotwe mienu wo da ha na awotwe mienu wo nso da ha na awotwe mienu nti ɛsɛ nɛ memini na sɛ wo bɛda ya wo duru a wo tam no so na awotwe mienu pɛpɛpɛ na wo kɔ no bedsheet ane yɛda so ne yɛntema no wo sesa kɔ na wo kɔsie na we so ba no wonso ne de set nti wonso ba no wonso me de ne de abisiesie so wonso wo kwa no wonso ayire de ko nti time bia no wo ba ma no wo hia ntema mienu da bua no wo hia mienu nsa na wo ba sheet no pillowcases ni nyina no da bia mienu se woni ba ko so a wo ya ba ko na woni ne mienu a wo yire no nso so wo mbati ase nti wo ade ba tiam na tuo no wo beyi akosi atoso no de aba wo so kwa saa no so be ye no enti no de enso wo ho no and de anya de a din bia firi wa
wo mo pepa na mom eduru kwan bi so a wo mo mpe aso kyerɛ ne sɛ oba bia kyerɛ ne nan sɛ o be ka no ho
be ma de wo sika no
efiti sɛ bia de odi kan no tena ase no wa brɛ wo ho wa ye yie wanya ba bia te na wo kofa bia be ka no ho de wɔno wanya no onya biam emu be kyemienu ɛfa bɛkɔ ɛfa bɛka ne nani ɛyɛ ne ya so wo ho no na mom sɛ wo be ma no wo hunu ntotoyɛ no a wo bo sɛ wɔse ye me bra dodo enti wa kofa bia be ka mo ho a me da nyame ase no omeboa ma adwuma ya ne enso no ne aho.
There are many aspects of Asante traditional marriage and inheritance to which the women object. They believe the system makes men irresponsible as husbands and fathers. But market women have overcome this problem. Trading has given them financial independence.
Now they show what they show, ma. I can't say I can't. You do a fatty, a man, yes, Enti sɛ woanyɛ saa de a na ho ka mu nti ne yɛma aso so yɛaboa yɛ homɔden de ayɛ saa adwuma no ade bi ahwɛ wo ma saa nti
mpɛ pii sɛ yɛ ɛwɔ hɔ yi ɛtumi ba sɛ yɛ Ghana ha se sɛ wo ne wokunu koraa bɔ bra na bɛrima ne wogya wo a ne na abusuafoɔ ne apam wo afiri bɛrima ne fie enti sɛ wobaa no woanyere wo ho anyɛ adwuma na bere bi sɛ ba sɛ bɛrima no awu ne yɛ pam a wode ahwɛ ɔma ne wo nananom a wobɛnante te sɛ obi a sɛ be woabɔ dam ɛno nti na mɛmaa no yɛani abere a yɛyere yɛ ho a yɛyɛ adwuma no
bɛrima no aha yɛ wale bebree ebi wɔ hɔ ne yi anan ọbẹ̀wò bá bèbè wọ́n tún ní ìṣẹ́ máa ń yàn án tí ẹ sẹ́sẹ́ wò bá nu bọ́mọdé owó sọ́fà bú àbílẹ̀ máa nu lọ́n tún ní ìṣẹ́ wò bá.
ẹ máa ń kura wọ fún nkwadaa nù àwọn ìhwẹ yẹn yẹn ń hwẹ yẹ kura àti sẹ wọn náà bọ ọhún wọde náà hwẹ nkwadaa nù ọ yẹ kura wọ sọ wọn ní nà nyẹm ẹba no kura nyẹ ne bia nyẹ sẹ wọn náà fọ so wọn náà hwẹ ba no nti na asante yẹ bẹrẹ ní ahwẹ yẹ ma no.
The women have made a virtue out of necessity. Relatively powerless in the domestic sphere, yet often left with total responsibility for their children, the women have taken control of the market, often working 12 hours a day with their babies on their backs. Successive governments have tried and failed to break the market women's monopoly. Their main source of strength is their stubbornness and their determination to resist government directives, whether on prices, taxation, or licenses to trade. Men used to trade alongside the women in the market, but over the years the women were so successful at trading that they've driven the men out. Yao Ajaman is the only Asante man left in the tomato wholesale area, and he got his job because his grandmother was the old tomato queen mother.
Dwadi nyina akɔhyɛ a memma nyina so wɔ dwuma bi bisa no secretary fo nko ani bi a ade te sɛ memma ɛna sɛbio anwu anwa sɛ ade ne heaven sa no na memma akɔ so nka dwom paa deɛ yɛbɔ ma sɛ bia ɛma titira no bisa ne madwuma titiri sɛ madwuma no sɛ secretary me na mo hwɛ sɛ no mo keep on accounts sɛ na sɛ yenya lete bia fi baby a me na mhwe na mkyura na se dwumadie bia ba aye fa me ma me na mhwe na mkoye I had to say if you asese me dwuma me ya nti ho anso na mo afezi so meni ma ya dwuma no enya abotre pa so timi ma ya dwuma cha wo abotre pa.
Most market women are illiterate, unimpressed by the secretary's ability to read and write. They're contemptuous of men's attempts to trade.
Na tomato sen na wom na nam na wom na fi fridge no na sisi woni yakura bi wom afi na no ma no start say ye pro na ye ka yes na say me ye hu kwankura fa so me de ye adwuma ni wa buka di fa ba ye pra ti ekuku mo no ye timi ye to ye nsakura frank crafo na one class crafo me no me nkrofo one clan ye nyira nkrafo one clan ti timi ye di nkuta ho ya ti ya sa frank crafo no ebusa se kwamba na nam so di ye adwuma yi ya kire mu a so kwana di ye adwuma ye ntimi me na me ka kire we fra daddy so ana ni etimi ayo ya lese keso di amamo to mango si gumu ahuru no akwan ahokwan ye bia body egu ahuru se esi aton no anam gu ahuru se usi aton no jaza wo mu di hu answer dabi office dia that's about the office na yentimi nya sika ncha di oti office na me hwa mo oti ase se adwuma ni ye adwuma ya ntone ntuma ya nko school ya nya adwuma bia kasa adwuma yi ho endi se de kwa na onam so bia benya sempa no be di oba fa so ba ho mode se ya maninti ahun chesa wo anko school wonni mo office adwuma ye wo so suku e o hie wo suku e akoye ni wona makurase wo totoba na mfama okwa wo ba The obedient to the end, I say, now show us how we answer, say, me baby, for something to college you ye. And to never yes and poor medical capre, major capre, Namabomode, and I say a manity, side here, now me baby, where ye are, Miss May. Just a man who cried and me, we are minimum. Me buy some night. Never also, you cry on the oil rabbi, cotton to magazine. No one near no year run and I saw a quabble channel. No, Marino. I just say yes and say, like a crabby. Near the him and Timmy was that time about beer. I met him a vanity. My hair, sanity, and the obedient on your meeting. Woman Yaquano, and yes, I see a woman with vanity. I know we will be timid. Now, Jumano, and young Juma, no be sure how president of Minister Yansa. I can't cry over what I'm sent to my city, Numukra, and intimidated among the scamper.
The women's ability to carve out a good living from trading at a time when the Ghanaian economy is in a state of collapse has often left them open to a charge of profiteering. These criticisms make it crucial for the women to stick together and present a united front.
Mama Dina said, "Don't know what I ship we are was there. Mummy and Fatasa and Fanquay. I am said, Gamma yet I won't move. Sabaida Kuanquano. Ya were a nippy away, Mopa. And Nakura. Ya, a bigura, I see a attitude, creativity. A nippa barco pet, a cram at Lassie, Nenipa, a mere time, a chilla. If you ever him about into Miss Ramon, Mummy and Fat Donna Korea. Niam fem yadwuma niam pesbi bi kakra yade be ma yema yade be hwe be school anu nko ana hia ya no esika ye nya bi amfa nya agapade bi ara nsi wo ye be di nko ana ya hwe tiresramo samo me amfa do ana Korea.
Even Amasewa's authoritarian rule and her appeals for unity cannot prevent disputes. In the market, it's every woman for herself, and pressures to make a profit are such that fights often break out. On a typical day, accusations fly that someone is undercutting or overpricing. For Amasewa, the Yam Queen Mother, her main task is the struggle to maintain order in the daily battle to make a living. This woman is complaining that some of the middle women are breaking the rules by outbidding each other to buy scarce yams.
I'm yancy and your pine, I thought by it. I feel by it, no problem. I'm by it, and a boy, Dennis will be a body by it and one on. No be so French, the non so be a cotton. And no, I'm by it and a boy.
Auntie, Papa Chemia, make two nipper, I'm the aqua partial, the aqua slet a queer form, Sabayra at my end and the body. In Tian Tisha into a man, none of the Cachemia, the Peneso, the back of here, the aqua slamai. Matchina shop. And then penning for that, and I say, the action I saw. Now, a bois, what better am I aboard? Yam Mapa will be and turn aboard.
More pans of one, some more pans on. And yes, some of the bar, yet to now call Yanama cotton aboard, and they feel near the Akron. About Crassi be a mere form. Into the be our better aboard now with the Baba Habiano. You better on a farm about our channel, I want to heavy. The best I can so you are the buyer and the board, you know. Yan talk. No, I bought when you are the buyer.
About what will be a boy. Let's see a talk,
Asantes were among the greatest warriors in Africa and once ruled over an empire almost as large as the modern state of Ghana. Asante men cling to the memory of their glorious past and remember their traditions in festivals and celebrations. All the trappings of their once great kingdom are on show. The keys are a symbol of the wealth of the king, who at all festivals brings out his ceremonial gold. Despite the fact that more than 60% of Asantes are now Christian, at a festival, the priests and priestesses who still believe in and serve traditional Asante gods cover themselves with white clay as a symbol of purity. Although Asante tradition is very strong, this celebration is no more than a ritual put on at the request of the Accra government to welcome the wife of the American Vice President. The market queen mothers are quick to see the political importance of such an event. In order to maintain their control of the market, they know it's vital to keep in favour with both the traditional Asante royals and the officials of the modern state of Ghana. The real struggle between the traditional and modern societies is likely to be fought out by the next generation. Even though economically Asante women have won considerable power, in the domestic sphere, girls are still given an upbringing that prepares them for the more traditional role of wife and mother.
Yeah, wani. Ave na abe go school. Ubu kuni. O pain. Watre. O wadroni. Wofu. Wa manwe. Amna. Wa mani o.
Baby Abena is the granddaughter and daughter of market traders. When she's 3 months old, she'll go every day with her mother to market until she's old enough to go to school. When they reach school age, girls learn about great Asante heroines of the past. Ya Asantewa, the Queen Mother of Ejisu, led the Asante warriors in their last great battle against British colonization in 1901. She's a heroine to every Asante schoolgirl. Away from school, Asante girls are expected to help their mothers with the housework.
Eduho valanda so ma prepare efie eho enyina miwia na maso ejano di nsu asiso ama menana anase obi amenenete owie na so dwale wia echese minsuma kosebi ededwale ansa wa be school ai sebase eduane nsu na ebe no ansa menno ansa na wa be school nsu a no ana medibi sense ya no eduane nsu ana magiska.
Education is making girls less and less prepared to accept their traditional roles. Kusi and Alina are 20 years old and will be getting married later this year.
If we say, Mitmu say, Yamamanum, or my ning new or more warrior. A idea, Cecilia me feel say, Mamma no ni manning na, say, ye jina breeze so. Omunina ako school, the air percy a be worry woman. Almost when near be, or more who send area city. Inti, mintia see the intia was a bema, be famine no coffer or bar for home. If we say, a bema in your mapia and cosu inti media many inches our warrior no.
Asante has said ye, a man assume memani ye. And son or backwako warrior, you will be a friend of Bragro. Sabra and see a group via a man who say, where Bermano, I was so soon. Bibi to say, Yamau, a shed them, Manco, and say, a drew some and my shed them, and my be soon. The announcer chill said they at Yama qua, one could bet say, the so kunuku jaria, I was so since you could see a dry, or bet that was all didn't I see about so now, now papa one son or no other. Na o obekwa dwan ba no aye aduane asi ho no mokama no aprapra dem bibia usora na pa wo na we ye okwa dwuma ba se bia oba miwura opedien edien aduane na obedi na obisa no no aye ama no nti asante ha se die ema no som emema ne pa
na wo fese sa die ye na wo be pese da chi sa na obe ye wuku
me die me pese be me sa
o pese adan
if you say me feel say yes na bema no mama som no dodo na say dey sia no sanka bia me busa bema ni bibia bihia bibia na me busa na dia ene ka ha me se me som ne sa na bia me se me ye madwuma me kwa adwuma won so be kwa adwuma be ba say esa me ntimi na fie enu aduane ne mma ti bia time a wo be pon adwuma ba na fe na me so ma pon adwuma ba nti esa na say koha inti mempese bebasa
Yesa diane nke ewuru noa na nyame amo amata ye
fam kan me mai ho
so na
santime fam
yen ha no ye bibrem ha nyame amfa amata ye ho se yen nsom ma no wose yen dia yem sam fifire sei ansan ye didi nti ye samu a ne kapra ye benya no ye dia man yire se ye kodwoma na fa ye duane ma ye ni yeni enti bema wo besene ja ho no na wo ne yere na wo bra no so na amoye
na te wo bra nye
sa
sebia ena me wo mu didwa wo mu wosika ne ade a wo mu nsukura na wosika na wo wosika no sa be no aduane nti da bi ni ho a won kasa minso na me na mbako ho mandi won nsukura no aduane
da
enti mi masa
je wonti mi kan ya mra kwa so be kasa bi a kire wo
enti so wo yire no me ya mienu a won mi nyina ka ho we de we yakoto atare abre ne ba no na won so fo so no so akoto no so de abre ne ba enti no se wuti wono amakọ ho makora we betimi anu de ane de abro sai se ma fa nkoma na obeka se we be no akọ enti obepe we ya che enti aboa ma obi aso fo so na so wunya ahonka wo.
Asante market women are certainly resourceful. They dominate the economic life of the region and are determined not to give up the only area of their lives where they're totally independent of men. There have been many attempts to break their domination of the market, but so far no government has successfully controlled them. The market women who sell imported goods undoubtedly hoard their commodities and make enormous profits. But those selling locally grown produce rarely become very rich. There have been several coups in Ghana since independence, and each time the market women have been targets for attack. Since the last coup on New Year's Eve, Kumasi market has twice been partially burnt by soldiers. Prices have come down, but a lot of commodities have disappeared because the women refuse to sell at government-controlled prices. Once again, the market queen mothers are under attack, and the new government has pledged itself to control them. Oba, the plantain queen mother, is particularly vulnerable because she was a strong supporter of the previous regime. But Oba is one of life's survivors. She's been overthrown before, but has always managed to bounce back to power.
Debia, yeri oba. Na chese, ba konso ne se. Tama aba no gu ye no. Nyame anim. Yesa me ye turu me. Tia no ye. Ni ye turu me no. E kirei, yeri obi si ye na se da bi. Se yakofu oba, ye tena ba. Chese adwuma no. Wano a ena obetimi ayo. Beni ampa, yesa so be fa me. Obati yo. Na chese e fa me no. Nam go sha wa hene wono. Na nwuma ye de ba ya ne se. Anwuma de ba etumia me pagya am se monto mame. Obati you. Wasani aba. Obati you. Wasani aba. Obati you. Mami woba. Wasani aba. Obati you. Mami woba. Wasani aba. Obati you. Wasani aba. Obati you. Wasani aba. Obati you. Mami woba. Wasani aba. Obati you. Wakwa